very scary, the thought of fire coming towards you.
Colorado's wildfire fight, homes in danger, mandatory evacuations in order.
All I can say is I pray for people who are in the middle of it.
While firefighters tackled the flames, volunteers rescued the pets.
Amazing. It's really amazing.
Warm temperatures and low humidity with high winds make for extreme fire danger in parts of the state.
Tonight, Denver 7 has team coverage of the wildfires burning across Colorado and the weather changes fueling the flames.
A lot of people are left kind of asking, can that happen here?
Fires spark in multiple parts of the state as crews battle both the flames and the winds, trying to protect homes. Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jacqueline Allen.
And I'm Brian Wang. Just to be clear, all these fires have now been extinguished, but not without leaving some damage behind first. Here's a map showing all the different fires that started today in at least 4 counties. At about 2 p.m., a fire started in Pueblo, causing an animal shelter to evacuate.
Soon after, crews were fighting fires in Cripple Creek, Peyton, and Wiggins. And we have team coverage tonight on the fire danger, the evacuations, and the high winds that fueled these flames.
First, let's start with Denver 7's Ivan Rodriguez, who's just east of Colorado Springs near Falcon, where a wildfire forced people out of their homes.
Fire officials tell me the fire is now 100% contained. Several structures were lost, including one home. We spoke with people looking from afar, and they told us they're deeply concerned that it seems like anytime there's high winds, a wildfire can spark.
It's very scary, the thought of fire coming towards you.
Mary Cafferty lives just a couple miles away from where the fire sparked in Falcon. One of her worries was being able to evacuate quickly with her animals.
I have 5 horses, so my concern is to be prepared to get my animals out in the event of something like this occurring.
The smoke and flames could be seen from miles away. Falcon fire officials say several structures like sheds burned, as did one home.
And over the last few days, we have had high fire danger. We all know how dry it's been out here, and then the winds. Just any type of spark, you know, from a lawnmower to somebody throwing a cigarette out the window, and then the wind picks that up, and this is what you end up with.
The cause of the fire is still under investigation, and there were no reported injuries. For Cafferty, this one was too close for comfort.
A season of devastating wildfires, and all I can say is I pray for people who are in the middle of it. And I hope that people are safe.
Ivan Rodriguez, Denver 7.
We continue our team coverage tonight in Pueblo, where Natalie Chuck from our sister station in Colorado Springs is tracking another fire, this one threatening homes and an animal shelter.
Embers are still burning tonight in Pueblo after a wildfire spread over 20 acres, forcing a nearby animal shelter, Paws for Life, to evacuate their animals and putting homes behind me on a pre-evacuation warning. It took over 11 agencies fighting this fire to get it 75% contained. The call came in around 2:30 in the afternoon, and crews have been here on the scene ever since. Firefighters tell me the extremely strong winds we've seen throughout the night are their biggest challenge right now, and they expect flare-ups to keep coming as the wind gusts do.
We watched Boulder recently. Conditions are like that right now. Extremely tinder dry, high fire danger, and these winds, high temperatures that we're having in the days is drying everything out terrible.
All of the animals from the shelter are back at the shelter tonight, and the homes here are no longer considered under threat after a shift in wind. Pueblo Fire is hoping these winds die down tomorrow, giving them a fighting chance against these flames. In Pueblo, Natalie Chuck, Denver 7.
Thank you, Natalie. Right. Animals were rushed out of the Paws for Life shelter in Pueblo when winds spread the fire towards them, threatening their facility. Crews eventually put the flames out and the animals were able to return. But Kim Alfonso, a volunteer with the Paws for Life organization, says everyone was ready to pitch in to keep the pets safe.
We had seen the tragedies that happened in Boulder and other areas with wildfires, and we did not want anything like that to happen to our animals. It's amazing.
Now, in case
it's really amazing.
Now, in case you were wondering, the dogs did just fine. Volunteers fed them some delicious hot dogs for all the troubles.
And this just in, Teller County fire officials are telling us the fire near Cripple Creek was caused by a campfire that was unattended. It's since been contained at just 3 acres, and evacuations in that area have been lifted. This weather today was not doing firefighters any favors, though. Dry, warm, very windy.
Yeah, very bad. Meteorologist Stacy Donaldson joins us now. Stacy, you're tracking the fire danger here, and it's not good.
That's right. We've had red flag warnings for the Front Range and the Eastern Plains for the last couple of days. Those were lifted at 7 o'clock tonight, but we have red flag warnings here for southeastern Colorado, including around Pueblo, where we saw the trouble earlier today. This is in effect for tomorrow and the day after. So we're still going to see high fire danger here for the coming days. The winds have died down for now, for the most part, but we had winds around 50 to 60 miles an hour earlier today. At this point here around the metro, it's between 15 and 20 miles an hour for the most part. Up in the high, into northeastern Colorado, we have 24-mile-an-hour gusts around Sterling, and in the high country around 48 miles an hour for Berthoud Pass, where we had 70-mile-an-hour gusts today. Now for the rest of tonight, it'll still be breezy with partly cloudy skies, those overnight lows in the low 30s, and as you're waking up tomorrow morning, a little bit warmer for the day. We're going to be in the mid-50s by noon, and we're going to warm it up into the 60s tomorrow. But we have a big storm coming our way. That means some rain and snow headed to Metro Denver and for the high country, but we'll talk more about the details coming up in a few.
All right, Stacey, we'll see you shortly here. All right, take a close look at this photo right here. The Lakewood Police Department wants you to be on the lookout for this older model four-door Chevy Blazer. Police say a female suspect struck a 61-year-old pedestrian with this car right here earlier this afternoon near Colfax Avenue, just west of Sheridan Boulevard. Police say the pedestrian is seriously injured. The SUV didn't have a license plate but has some distinguishing characteristics, including a green hood and green rear fender. Anyone with info is asked to call LPD at 303-980-7300. All right, Contact Denver 7 is getting you guys some results here. Last week we told you about a Thornton man who says police haven't arrested the suspect involved in a violent road rage incident nearly a year ago.
And as Denver 7's Russell Haythorne explains, after our story aired, police are now giving new attention to this case.
He's just so smart.
Patrick Ross Kelly hasn't felt this hopeful in a long time.
I really do think that there is a lot of promise, given the fact that there's actually police on the streets looking for the guy.
It has certainly been a rough road to justice.
Definitely frustrated and wish there was like a higher level of accountability.
We first introduced you to Ross Kelly last week.
He kicks the door in, it flies open, hits my refrigerator.
As he described how a road rager followed him all the way home.
The gentleman got upset after a road rage incident and followed me home and kicked in my door and beat me up in my kitchen right here.
His case took months to investigate, then a break thanks to DNA evidence left at the scene. The attacker was identified as Aaron James Dunn, and the DA filed charges of second-degree burglary and assault in the third degree. An arrest warrant was issued in May 2021, but 11 months later, still no arrest.
It was just sitting on the DA's desk as far as I know.
And still no movement in the case until our reporting last week.
I cannot thank you and your news team enough for featuring me on air and online.
What we now know through our reporting is that most departments, like Thornton Police, work with the FBI's Rocky Mountain Safe Streets Task Force on fugitive apprehension. In this case, Ross Kelly says the Adams County DA likely failed to forward the case to the task force. On Friday, Ross Kelly says a Thornton police officer called him to apologize for this case slipping through the cracks. And we now know that multiple metro area agencies are actively searching for the suspect.
Basically, it just apologized for the systemic failure.
The case now has new traction, and Ross Kelly is hoping it helps other victims.
If you have an active case or something like that and you're feeling like you're not well represented, try and reach out to people, because there's more than just the victims advocates and like the detective working your case.
In Thornton,
I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, because before it felt like nobody would listen.
Russell Haythorne, Denver 7.
Coming up, an inmate in Larimer County Jail is raising the red flag, the phone conversation that wasn't as private as he thought.
Removing a derogatory term from dozens of Colorado landmarks.
Our voices are finally being heard.
The latest on the effort to right past wrongs.
And the countdown is on for Adams 14 to come up with a plan or possibly close a school down.
Plus, it may look like a simple Colorado consignment sale, but the impact reaches all the way to moms in Ukraine.
We wanted to use our collective power of moms helping moms